Senator Nelson, thank you very much for joining us. I want to talk a little bit about what's happening to the Republican Party and to Arlen Specter. I ask you because you're kind of a maverick on the other side of an aisle, a Democrat who sometimes votes with the Republicans. In fact, you just voted against the president's budget. And we'll talk about that in a minute. But what about this deal, Specter switching over? Is this a big deal? Is it something that just pertains to Pennsylvania, or is this something part of a wider thing that we're seeing unfold here?
That's a great question. I don't think we know yet. I do think that Arlen felt uncomfortable not looking at a very strong primary for himself, but I think he's also felt very comfortable with a number of Democrats with whom he's voted before. He and I worked together very closely with Senator Collins and Senator Snowe on the stimulus package, the recovery package. I think he's very comfortable with the change that he's made, given the fact that it didn't look like he was going to have a great primary.
Mm-hmm. Well, there's no question, and I thought that was one of the interesting things. He was very candid about that. He said, look, I can't win the primary. I'm 20 points down. But he put it in this way. He said, I felt like my base was moving. Mm-hmm. And to hear Senator Snowe talk, and even conservatives like Lindsey Graham yesterday, who Lindsey Graham said flatly, we've got a problem. Do you think the Republicans are in trouble here?
Well, I think the problem is their base is narrowing for them, and that base seems to be happy about narrowing by saying, if you don't like us, leave. I don't know. Is it the difference between a big tent and a small tent? I think that they are going to have to assess how they deal with their members because there are fewer and fewer truly centrists on the Republican side.
Well, I mean, exclusivity might be fine for a fraternity or maybe a country club, perhaps, but it does seem, as you watch them go through this, that they, as you say, there does seem to be at least a segment within the party that wants it to become more pure, that wants it to narrow down. And I wonder how you can build a party if, in fact, that happens. My guess is that it'll run for a while and then they'll begin to broaden, or at least make an attempt to broaden out again.
Well, there are a lot of middle of the road centrist, moderate Republicans, and they'll take charge of their party again, and they'll come back. But at the present time, it seems to me that a group has almost taken charge of it and is narrowing its base intentionally, and that doesn't really work that well in politics. It doesn't work when the Democrats do it, and it's certainly not going to help the Republicans.
I thought it was interesting last night at the president's news conference where he had plenty of opportunities to rub the Republicans' nose in it, and he was very careful not to do that. I thought his comments about Arlen Specter, he recognizes he's not going to be an automatic vote, and I would guess that you would agree with that. I do not believe Arlen Specter will be the automatic 60th vote if Al Franken does come into the Senate and sits with you Democrats.
I agree with you 100%. I think the distinction I would make is that if Al Franken comes on board, there will be 60 members of the caucus, not an automatic 60 votes. And having Arlen there, maybe I'll have somebody to share the penalty box with me from time to time.
Well, are you in the penalty box right now? Because I know you did vote against the president's budget yesterday. You voted for the stimulus, if memory serves, but you voted against the budget yesterday. Why'd you do that?
Well, I think it was too much spending, and while they tried to improve it as a result of the conference committee, it was just still too much spending at a time when I don't think we can afford it, and I didn't think allowing some of the tax cuts to expire was the best way to handle it.
There's no question the president's had a great first 100 days. Certainly the last week was about as good as it gets, I would think, for a Democrat. Will it be this easy the next 100, Senator?
Well, time will tell, but we'll be into some fairly substantive issues, It'll be about health care. There'll obviously be some more talk about energy and climate change. That will continue to be discussed. So the rubber will meet the road on what kind of proposals are going to be put together, what they'll look like, and that can be divisive, but this president seems to know how to reach out and bring people in and do it in such a way, as you said, that he didn't gloat and won't gloat over Arlen Specter's change of parties. And I think that's good for all of us, because we really do need to work together. We've been too much into division and subtraction. We need addition, and we need multiplication here when it comes to working together.
All right. Nebraska's Democratic Senator Ben Nelson, who votes with the Democrats most of the time, but sometimes doesn't. Thank you very much, Senator. Great to talk to you.
Great to talk to you, Bob.